everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to Chronicles of a Crafter. I have here the stack of paper I want to make something with. I also have this notebook, or it's actually a hardcover book. It's a National Geographic Society book. Here, I'll show you what it looks like that on the spine, and it's all about New England. So I have deconstructed this book, and I'm making various things with the pages and images from the book itself, but the cover's so nice and new that I want to do something with it. So I think I'm going to make a book of envelopes. So there'll be several pockets in here. I just have to figure out how am I going to assemble it into the spine of this book. But I do know how I'm going to make the envelope. So we can start with that, and hopefully the rest will come to me. So here I have this stack of paper. This is just random paper from a paper pack, and there's all different patterns and colors. Of course, these are different paper packs. They're not all the same. I also have these. I don't know if you guys remember Miss Elizabeth's, but she made these great packs of 5 what is it, scrapbooking paper, I believe. Yeah, so she made these packs of 5, and I remember buying these at the Dollar Tree back in the early 2000s. But now they're fairly expensive because I got this at the thrift store when I got that huge stack of paper with the Tim Holtz paper, and you know, it was just a big shock to me. I went on eBay to look up how much these packs are worth, and they're anywhere between $8 and $14. And I remember way back in the day picking these up at the Dollar Tree for $1. So she's come a long way. Anyway, I'm going to open these up and make some envelopes with them and somehow get them into this book. Alright, so let's do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so these are all roughly 12 by 12 sheets of paper, and I have here next to me my large guillotine. The inside of this book measures 9 7/8 from top to bottom. Okay, and I know that because this was one of the inside covers that I tore away, and what I did was I cut half of the inside cover on one side, and then I flipped it over and glued it down so it just looks completely seamless. Alright, so I know that it's 9 7/8 because of the excess paper that I have left over from the inside cover. So that's what measures on the inside here, from here to here. Okay, what I want to do is make sure that my paper that I'm using for my envelopes are going to fit into this book. So I am going to cut them down to 9 3/4, just to give me a little bit of wiggle room at the top and the bottom. Alright, so here are all of the Miss Elizabeth's paper that I've collected. This is about 13 sheets of paper. I think that'll make a nice chunky set of envelopes to fit into this book. So let's go ahead and cut these down to 9 3/4. I'm just going to score them right on the line so that I have a clear surface for working with. And I'm going to make sure that all of my papers are facing in the same direction. So there are a couple of striped paper in here. I think other than that, all of the other patterns are non-directional. Perhaps this one is directional. Alright, but the stripes, I definitely want them all vertical. So there's another set of striped pages back here somewhere. Yep, so they're all facing up and down. I'm going to move a few of them out the way and just work with 1 or 2 of them at a time. Just score them at 9 3/4 all the way down, and then I will cut off this excess right here. All right. At the end of the day, my stripes will be horizontal in the book, but for cutting purposes, I want to cut off the excess at 9 3/4 with them on the vertical. So I'm just going to get a nice tight crease on this score mark. Okay, and I'll go on to the next set. So I'll do them about 2 at a time, and then just go from there. So let's say 9 3/4. The only problem with doing it this way is that you have to make sure that you are scoring the same spot every time. So, you know, just have to pay attention. Anyway, this is just my twist on the pocketed, I guess there's like, this is all over the internet. I guess you can find it anywhere. Finding pocketed envelopes, or, you know, envelopes in a book, or any kind of altered book with envelopes in it. You can find this project anywhere. So I'm just doing my twist on it. But I hope you guys are having a great day and would consider trying this project, because these envelopes can be very useful either in a junk journal or to house your ephemera. So yeah, it's a very useful project. Okay, so I'm just making sure that my score mark is burnished down really well. And I think I have just a few more left to do. And I will probably mix these up inside the journal so that there isn't too much of a pattern going on, or I may just leave it so that it's graduating in color. So I may start with pink and then work my way on to purple, and then from there go to green, and then do all of the browns. But it's either that, or I can totally make them random. I didn't even realize there's blue in here as well. So yeah, it may be totally random, or I will make them a graduating color scheme. Alright, so that's that. I basically scored them all at 9 3/4, and this is the stack that I have along with these two. Oh look, there's also yellow in here. So yeah, I may do just graduating colors as opposed to mixing them all up, because I can see how the blues and the greens play off each other. There's some yellow in there, pinks, and then the browns. Oh, and the purples. Alright, so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these down using my large guillotine, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have all my pages cut down to 9 3/4. These are my scraps right here. Okay, so I'm just going to move my large guillotine out of the way and decide how big of an envelope that I really want. So I'm just going to guesstimate this. They are still 12 inches wide, and I just rotated the striped pages on its side. So now my stripes are horizontal. All right, I'm going to make them all the same size envelope, and I'm just going to estimate how big of an envelope I really want. I basically just folded this paper up, and I can give you the scoring measurements. It'll probably be a little bit easier for you. So I scored it at 4 3/4, and then I scored it at 10 1/4. All right, so now we have this. So all of my pages I'm going to score exactly the same. Let me just pull them out here. And again, those measurements are 4 3/4 and then 10 1/4. All right, so there's a score mark here, 4 3/4, score mark here, 10 1/4. All right, and that's what I'll do for all of them. I just want to make sure that they're all, because I've organized them in the right color scheme that I want to go with. So this is what I'm doing: pinks, then purples, then blues, the yellow, the green, and then the browns. All right, that's how I'm going to assemble them into the book. So let's do this. 4 3/4, and then 10 1/4. Fold your score line and fold your score line. And every so often you just want to check to make sure that your envelopes measure up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and continue with this, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so now we have these, and they're all been scored and folded into little envelopes, as you can see. All right, so I'm going to make these into little accordion pockets. I know, super ambitious, right? So if you remember the accordion pocket styles that I've made in the past, you just take a strip of paper, you measure it to the height of the pocket, so it won't be this height, it would be this height. All right, so the 4 3/4 mark that we made is the strip that you're going to need to make your accordion. All right, so I'm just holding this. I don't know if this one's going to go here. What I want to do is probably mix this up a little bit and make the accordions a different pattern on each pocket, because I have all of these strips right here. So let me go through and set up a coordinating accordion side for each one of these, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that was easier than I thought. So yeah, I thought there'd be a lot of mixing and matching going on. Not necessary. So what I need to do right now is grab my little scoreboard, grab my little mini score buddy, and I'm just going to score whatever this was, 4 3/4. Okay, so I'm just going to take this strip that I have right here, score it at 4 3/4, and then put the score mark in the corner and score it again at 4 3/4. All right, so this is all that I will have left over, is this little piece right here. All right, and I may find something to do with these, so have no fear. I'm gonna use my little guillotine. It's my little mini Fiskars guillotine. I've used it 1,000 times on this channel, and I'm just gonna go ahead and chop this page up. And now we have these two strips right here to make our accordion pocket. So I'm going to measure it. It's 2 1/4, so I will score it at every 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going through and scoring it at every 1/4 of an inch, and these will be fairly large accordion pockets. Okay, so then what you want to do is just rotate these score marks back and forth on itself till you have like a little fan shape. And with a 1/4 of an inch score mark, it's not too difficult but you just have to make sure that you get each and every one of them. Now we have this. Okay, so this was my first one. There's my little accordion. It's going to go down here on this page like so, with the pattern facing out, as opposed to if you were to flip it over, the pattern is now facing in. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You have to have some sort of orientation as to where your pattern is going. And then with that, you can take some art glitter glue, place it on the bottom here, and make sure my pattern is facing out. I'm just going to place this last fold mark onto the art glitter glue, and I'm making sure that the entire accordion is inside the paper. And it's okay if your accordion comes up a little bit above the top. We will snip that off, but you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of room down here at the bottom to allow the page to fold in on itself. And when you're done, you will have this little gusset right here. I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of them, and I will be right back. So yeah, it pretty much took me a good half of the day to do this many. I mean, between you know, life, I have kids, and you know, fixing dinner, picking them up from school. So there are a couple of them in between here that I did a little something extra with the centerpiece. So when you cut off the 4 1/4 on both sides, you end up with all of these, right? So these are all my little sections there, and I put a little gusset in between, so now I have 2 pockets in here. Okay, so there's a little tiny accordion down in there, and I only did it to 2 of them just to test and see like how well that'll work, but I think it'll work out pretty well for various ephemera that I want to stash in these envelopes. Okay, so now we have all of these. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just score off my flaps and forego them. So let me just go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I went ahead and glued all of these together, and this is what my accordion folders or envelopes look like. I did have to score off the tops of the folders, or the envelopes, sorry, because they were impeding their close. They would not close properly on each one. So this is what I have left. I went ahead and cut away the flap cover. So this is just my scraps. And I'm sure I will find something to do with these. I promise I will. Anyway, so this is what I have left. This is just all of the accordion envelopes that I made. I glued them all together. And some of them I glued at the bottom. Some of them I didn't. It's not really necessary to do so. But this is what they look like down at the bottom. And the sides. Okay. So now I have plenty of room to stash things in. Some of them have double pockets, okay? These 2 back here have little slivers of pockets right here, okay? But the rest of them just have 1 big pocket in between. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble this into the book. Here is the hardcover book. Again, it's a National Geographic Society book about New England. And I am just going to adhere this to the back cover, and then I will close the top cover and glue it down as well. And then once it's open, it will look like that. And all kinds of things can be stored in here: ephemera, stickers, you know, you name it, it can all be stashed in here. Okay, I'm going to use Fabric Fix glue for this. And I'm just going to get enough glue all over this entire back page. And then glue it down. Making sure I get my edges and the corners really well. So there's this, okay? And I'm just going to place it anywhere in the book, but I'm making sure that there's centrally placed between the top and the bottom. And I'm leaving enough room in the spine, so there'll be nothing actually touching the spine. So I'm just going to pop it down right about there. And I think it's even. I think it's pretty even. Okay. Now to do this front cover, it's going to take a little maneuvering because I'm going to have to pull this apart once I get enough glue down on it. So let's just go ahead and give that a whirl. And I'm using a substantial amount of glue on here. I just don't want anything to happen, any accidents. So I'm making sure that it's glued down really well and getting my corners and all of the edges. Okay. Alright, I'm going to leave something really heavy on top of this overnight to make sure that it dries completely and in place. But this is what it will look like when it's all said and done. Alright. But yeah, that's it. This is what an accordion ephemera folder book looks like. Okay. So these are all of my accordions here on the sides. Alright guys, I'm going to leave you here. I hope you guys found some value in this video. If you did, just go ahead and hit that like button down below. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, or you can visit any one of my other social media accounts, Pinterest, Instagram, etc. It's all down in the description. And I hope you guys have a crafty day, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Stay naturally curious, guys. Bye.